everyone, and welcome to another Into the Void Real Review. This time we are reviewing Superman, directed by James Gunn and starring David Corenswet, Nicholas Hoult, and Rachel Brosnahan. Finally, it's here, the reboot of Superman that many have looked forward to. Yet another franchise being hopefully built up to a better standard than previous iterations that have came before it. Reviews on this have ranged from glowing to downright abysmal, causing a rift through time and space that threatens to shatter our very existence. Well, good people, I've seen the thing, and I can say that there are some things I liked, and then other things that I wouldn't say I didn't like, but came to appreciate. This brand of Superman comes off as more punk rock and not so much pop contemporary, more upbeat and less dour. This Superman is a more politically supercharged affair than previous ones, although he still keeps the all-do-good attitude to helping his fellow man, child, and even squirrel. Superman wisely skips the backstory of how Superman came to be and drops us into the action straight away. This Superman, more than other ones, is beaten down so many times that you begin to suspect, is he really the most powerful being on the planet? David Corenswet is a good fit as Superman. He begins his picture beaten to a pulp by the Hammer of Baravia, a Master Chief-looking helmeted villain who isn't all he is cracked up to be. Superman seems to be fighting off his back foot from the very beginning. Lex Luthor, played by Nicholas Hoult, is winning the fight, not just barely, but handily. This brand of Lex Luthor is very cruel and does some very bad things that you wouldn't believe. I'm not wanting to get too much into spoilers, and I will be getting into some spoilerific story things, so beware, but I will try to avoid them as much as possible. But, damn, Nicholas Hoult brings a very sinister and yet kind of a temper tantrum baby aesthetic to the table with his version of Lex Luthor. And even though Lex has always been the brain to Superman's brawn, you may question how such a man can do the things he can do in this movie. Like, the man can create pocket universes all on his own. Either way, Lex is done really well in this iteration of Superman, and he creates a nice dichotomy to the Gene Hackman Lex of the older Superman movies. But enough about Lex, let's talk about Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane and her relationship with Clark Kent. I've always been a fan of Rachel Brosnahan. I really liked her a lot in The Marvelous Miss Maisel, and if you haven't seen that series, check her out in that. And she's a really excellent Lois Lane in Superman, and she sure does look like the part, and she also plays the part well, too, as she debates Superman's actions with Clark Kent.
That's funny?
My actions? I stopped a war.
Maybe.
Not maybe. I did.
In effect, you illegally entered a country.
Which, spoiler alert, she already knows is his alter ego. They talk about the political side of why Superman has fallen out of favor of late. She really gets Clark to look at himself and his actions, which sometimes border on naivety. He wants to do good almost to the detriment of what the best course of action actually is. Kent says Superman has a punk rocker mentality, and Lois quickly schools him by saying he definitely is not punk. She even goes so far as to say that his brand of punk sucks. Clark acknowledges that his brand of punk isn't popular with the masses, but to him, being a do-gooder, no matter the extent, is the new punk rock. Chemistry is there between the two, and that is important because it is something to build on in the inevitable sequels. There's just perhaps too little interaction between the two in this movie. As for the contributing cast, namely the side characters, some are hit and miss. Facing Lex Luthor and the hate of the public is what Superman has to do, but he couldn't do it without the Justice League. Wisely, the cast isn't big for this superhero band. Nathan Fillion plays Green Lantern, Isabella Merced plays Hawkgirl, and Eddie Gathegi plays Mr. Terrific. The standout is Mr. Terrific. He is, what can I say, terrific. He has a no-nonsense, roll-your-eyes magnetism that is great here. He sits in a hover chair and controls little balls. Yes, balls. That can do all sorts of cool things. Nathan Fillion sports a bowl cut and does the things that only Green Lantern can do. Hawkgirl is a little out of place here, screaming in bird shrieks and sporting a bird helmet that just isn't that cool. Not that I don't like Isabella Merced, quite the contrary. She was Dina in the second season of The Last of Us, and she kills it there more than here as Hawkgirl. The Justice League for me as a whole reminded me as a bunch of misfits more than superheroes, and maybe that is done on purpose. There's one other hero that joins the League, Metamorpho, who can morph into all kinds of elements, played by Anthony Kerrigan. I think they formed a strange team that actually was hesitant to help Superman halfway through the film when Lex imprisons him in a cube with Metamorpho, who uses kryptonite to keep him in check, which is kind of strange. This iteration of the Justice League has yet to gel with me, but like I said, I did like Mr. Terrific and Guy Gardner, aka Green Lantern, more than the rest. They at least bring some humor to the proceedings along with Superman, which is a welcome relief to all the dourness that previous Man of Steel movies Henry Cavill brought to the table. Crypto, Superman's dog, is cool as well and brings laughs too. Also, there's a hilarious cameo of Bradley Cooper here that had me a little perplexed about why he was cast as Jor-El. Seemed a little out of place. But honestly, the funniest bits come when Jimmy Olsen, played by Skylar Gisondo, tries to get dirt on Luthor through his girlfriend who has some severe attachment issues. Less funny are Clark's foster parents, Ma and Pa Kent, who are clumsily implemented here. The villains I thought were well done, with the standout on that side being Maria Gabriela de Farah as the engineer. She is cool in how she can make her hands into spinning blades, and she has an interesting way in which she tries to take down Superman later on towards the end of the film. The action scenes are dizzying in spectacle, and there's no shortage of it. There is a cool kaiju fight, which I am sure is there because of James Gunn's insistence to add elements of one of his favorite films of last year, Godzilla -1, to the mix. I can't complain about the action too much because it is done rather well and as convincingly as can be done in a superhero movie of this magnitude. I think if there is a weakness, it has to be the tone of the movie. It is all over the place. It wants to be sweet, but oftentimes Gunn smothers those moments with humor. And I've seen many reviews that say that Gunn doesn't let the sweet, heartfelt moment resonate, with maybe one exception at the end of the movie, and I have to agree. The inconsistent tone of almost a Naked Gun humor quotient paired with a Marvel action cinematic element doesn't always land very well. Another thing, many people may not like this punk rock brand of Superman that is on display here, especially when comparing the tone to the tone of the Christopher Reeve movies or even the Henry Cavill brand of dour Superman. As far as comparison to the comics, I won't go there because I'm not familiar at all with them. The music is very unmemorable, even if it does bring the original John Williams score back to some places. Overall, I enjoyed this new reboot. There's room for things to improve in the inevitable sequels to follow. I believe it's making good money at the box office, so I'm sure these sequels would be greenlit. I'm giving Superman a 7 out of 10. It has a good heart, even if it is mired in inconsistent tones and features a misfit of heroes, aka the Justice League, that haven't quite gelled with me yet. The core of Lois and Clark is strong in this one, and I look forward to seeing their chemistry in future endeavors. Guys, what did you think of Superman? Are you happy with it, or does it miss the mark? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you want more of this content, and I will see you the next time when we venture into the void.